At sunset on a quiet beach, Daniel, a handsome 25-year-old with short brown hair and bright green eyes, sat on the warm sand, watching the gentle waves under the fading sunlight. He wore a simple white shirt, unbuttoned at the collar, paired with blue jeans, giving him a relaxed yet stylish look. His nerves danced between excitement and anticipation as he eagerly awaited his special date with Emily, the girl who had captured his heart. Suddenly, Emily appeared, a stunning 25-year-old with long, fiery red hair flowing with every step, as if it were dancing flames in the air. Her bright red eyes gleamed like glowing jewels in the setting sun, and she wore a long, flowing red dress that swayed with the breeze, with a red silk scarf draped over her shoulders. Her movements were filled with energy, and her smile was radiant. "Daniel," Emily called out loudly, her voice carrying through the air as she hurried toward him. Daniel, who had been lost in thought gazing at the horizon, snapped to attention and smiled at her, though he quickly noticed her fast-paced approach.
What?
"Did something happen?" he asked, puzzled as she rushed toward him. "I'll tell you later." Emily laughed, but suddenly, she tripped over a small rock in the sand and gently tumbled to the ground. Her long red hair spread across the sand, and her dress shimmered under the fading sunlight. She laughed loudly, lying on her back in the sand, looking like she was in a comedy scene. Daniel couldn't help but burst into laughter, his brown hair tousled by the wind as he stepped forward to help her up. "I guess you had something exciting planned, but the sand had other ideas," he teased, extending his hand to help her up. Emily, her face slightly flushed as she grinned mischievously, said, "Hold on, the surprise isn't over yet." As Daniel helped Emily to her feet, her eyes sparkled with a mixture of mischief and excitement. She brushed the sand from her dress and turned toward the shoreline, her gaze locked on the waves. Daniel followed her line of sight, but before he could ask what she was up to, Emily grabbed his hand. "Come with me," she said, pulling him toward the water with a sudden burst of energy. Daniel, half laughing and half confused, followed her lead. They stopped just at the water's edge, the cool tide lapping at their feet. Emily looked up at him with a wide grin. "Close your eyes," she instructed, a playful yet serious tone in her voice.
What?
"Why?" Daniel asked, raising an eyebrow. "Just trust me," Emily insisted, tugging his hand again. Reluctantly, but with a smile tugging at the corner of his lips, Daniel closed his eyes. He could hear the waves, feel the cool breeze, but his heart raced as the unknown anticipation grew stronger. For a moment, everything was still. Then, he felt something soft and warm wrap around his wrist. His eyes fluttered open, and he looked down to see Emily tying a small, red ribbon around his wrist. The same shade as her dress, it fluttered in the breeze. "What's this?" he asked, puzzled. Emily bit her lip, a shy but excited look crossing her face. "It's part of the surprise. There's something I've been meaning to tell you, Daniel. I wanted to do it today, at this moment." Daniel's heart skipped a beat. "What is it?" he asked, his voice suddenly quieter, more serious. Emily took a deep breath, her red eyes glowing as they locked onto his. "This isn't just any ribbon. It's from my family, and it symbolizes something important, commitment and promise. It's a tradition, and I wanted to share it with you because, well, I care about you, Daniel. A lot." She paused, her cheeks flushing slightly under the dimming light. "I want to promise that no matter what happens, I'll always be here for you. This ribbon means that you have a special place in my life." Daniel stood there, speechless for a moment, the weight of her words sinking in. His chest tightened, but not with anxiety. This was something else, something warm. He looked down at the ribbon, then back into her glowing red eyes. "Emily," he whispered, unable to find the words to express what he felt. Before he could say more, a loud splash interrupted the moment. Both of them turned toward the water, where something large seemed to move just below the surface. Daniel instinctively stepped in front of Emily, his senses suddenly heightened. "What was that?" he muttered, scanning the waves. Emily's playful smile faded, replaced by a look of concern. "That's not normal," she whispered, gripping Daniel's arm tightly. Suddenly, the calm evenings seemed to shift. The air grew cooler, and the once gentle waves began to churn more aggressively. Daniel's heart raced, not from Emily's confession, but from the unknown presence lurking in the water. "Daniel, we need to go," Emily said urgently, pulling him back toward the shore. But before they could take another step, the water erupted. A towering figure emerged from the ocean, its body shimmering under the moonlight. Daniel's breath caught in his throat as the creature, massive and serpentine, rose from the depths, its eyes glowing with an otherworldly light. Emily gasped. "No, it can't be." "What is that?" Daniel asked, his voice trembling. Emily's eyes narrowed, her earlier playfulness now completely replaced by seriousness. "It's a guardian. One that hasn't been seen in centuries." The creature roared, its voice echoing across the beach. Suddenly, Daniel realized that tonight's sunset was far from ordinary. The peaceful evening he had anticipated had turned into something much more, something ancient and dangerous. And in that moment, he knew their lives were about to change forever.